This Arctic frost situation, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every day. Here's the newest headline for you, and the left is flipping out because they're firing people, as they should, right? We thought they got rid of them all the other day. It turns out there was one lingering there. 22-year veteran of the FBI, recently named in documents that were related to this Arctic frost investigation. It's like dystopian, even the word, right? Arctic frost. Anyway, this guy, he had been there for 22 years in the FBI. He's connected, apparently, to this investigation into J6, and now he is being pushed out. And so the left is going nuts. You can't push him out. You can't push him out. And they're like, oh, yeah? So Director Kash Patel is forcing out the special agent, according to MSNBC, in charge, whose name appeared in documents recently released by the Senate Republicans, detailing the efforts into the investigation into Donald Trump's effort, as they write, to overturn the 2020 election. So, I don't want to pick at words, but let me just say for a moment, all Donald Trump was trying to do was actually get to the bottom of what he thought might be a close election, right? So if Georgia was close, why was he going to give up on that? Don't forget Hillary Clinton was out there saying on a podcast that was anchored by one of her PR friends that used to work for her. She was saying her advice to Joe Biden in August of 2020 was, whatever you do, if it's close, don't give up, right? They learned their lesson back with hanging chads in Florida, and Al Gore and Bush took that one. So they were like, don't give up, don't give up. Okay, so Donald Trump was like, I'm not giving up. And he didn't have a right to do that? No, you didn't have a right to do that, because if you're playing for the other side, you don't have a right to do anything. Let's face it. The agent, his name was Aaron Tapp, and he's been named in the Post. He was named to the Post in San Antonio last year, 22-year FBI veteran who specialized in fraud and financial and cyber crimes. According to his LinkedIn profile, it was not immediately clear whether he would be allowed to retire from the Bureau. So they're like, you're out. And the question is, does he get his retirement, or is he just out? He's somehow connected to this investigation into all of these senators. And it's bizarre. I mean, it's bizarre that this happened in a country like ours. I mean, it's very, very sort of banana republic-esque. I've told you guys before, and I'm going to say it again, I don't think we've ever seen anything like it, certainly not in my lifetime. This is like Watergate on steroids. If you look at this graphic I'm showing you on the air, you've got Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, Jack Smith, and Christopher Wray at the top. I would say you got to put Biden in there somewhere too, okay? This is like Biden's entire team. So I want to know exactly who was pulling the strings, who was pulling the strings for Biden, for goodness sakes. I mean, we know he didn't have many strings to pull, especially towards the end. And so they were going after Donald Trump. They tapped, forgive me, I can't say wiretapped. I'm going to get in trouble. They told, T-O-L-L-E-D, okay? You're learning a new word here today. They told the phones. That meant that they were listening, not technically listening. They were looking at the metadata. So they'd say, okay, how long was Marsha Blackburn talking to Trish Regan, okay, or whoever else? They got 30 million phone records. How long was she talking to Trish? And where was she talking to Trish from? And where was Trish when Marsha was talking to her? And so they started to try and piece together and basically map out the entire MAGA movement. And if you were associated with this in any way, oh gosh darn it, you were in all kinds of trouble. And we saw this over and over again. I mean, just looking at some of the bank records, for example, right? I mean, the bank records that kept coming up. So this agent allegedly was involved in some of this. And it's now become such an ordeal, such a big deal, that you have all of these senators that were targeted saying enough is enough. I mean, I love this one. Some of you guys have seen this already, but you had Grassley out there. Was it Ted Cruz? It was Ted Cruz, one of them. Okay, we're gonna play both of these sound bites. So humor me for a moment, because I can't believe what these phone companies did. Ted Cruz was getting his phone logged by a phone company. Here's Grassley explaining it.
I've recently been informed by Verizon that at least 11 members with Verizon accounts were affected. That includes a hard line for Senator Cruz's office and a staffer cell phone for former Senator Loeffler. AT&T informed me they challenged the legal basis for Jack Smith's efforts, and Smith backed down.
Well, good for AT&T. Really good for AT&T. I mean, like I get, they go and they get a subpoena somehow, but it is kind of at some point up to the phone company to look at the subpoena and try and understand whether it's really worth it, because you would have to assume that they're going to be in trouble if they were allowing flimsy subpoenas to then be able to go after major senators. I mean, that's messed up. As Senator Kennedy so rightly, and dare I say, articulately, he's got some expressions. This one's a doozy.
But the phone company and the general counsel for the phone company, or companies, if there were more than one involved, could say, this is serious as an aneurysm. This is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. This is a sitting United States senator. So general counsel would likely advise the CEO, well, you need to file a motion to quash.
Senator, typically phone companies follow a subpoena from a United States attorney.
I know they do, but they don't have to.
They could challenge it, Senator.
Yeah. Or maybe they should have gone to Amazon and buy some testicles online. Instead of just saying, sure, I'll just show you the phone records of a sitting United States senator on the basis of an administrative subpoena.
You see, I told you. He has a way with words. Anyway, one of you guys writing, and I get it, that you're like actually thinking about switching your cell phone provider there, because the idea that Verizon just folded and apparently didn't go to Amazon and purchase the things that Kennedy wanted them to do, like AT&T did, is very interesting. Very, very interesting. So here, you're looking at what I just put up on the screen, which is the rules surrounding what telecom companies can and cannot do. I mean, they can't actually provide these phone records unless they have a subpoena. Now, as Kennedy said, they can challenge that subpoena. And if you have a good general counsel, they're going to look at that and say, well, let me be careful here, because we can't just like fold over for everyone. Like, what is the real reason for this? And it sounds like in the case of AT&T, they did challenge Jack Smith and he ran away. So Verizon didn't bother. And that's actually an interesting distinction. I mean, don't forget, you have all these rules surrounding this, the Wiretap Act, you've got the Computer Fraud Act and Abuse Act, you've got State Privacy Eavesdropping Acts. I mean, all of these senators actually could go after the phone companies in addition to Jack Smith and company, because anybody that got tracked through this tolling system of gathering the metadata is basically now, I mean, maybe they can come up with some kind of class action lawsuit. You get 30 million phone records. I'm sitting there going, I mean, for sure. My number's in there somewhere. For sure, because I talked to enough people behind the scenes. My number's in there somewhere. So anybody who was a victim of this should be able to come forward and say, hey, not okay, right? Here's Jack Smith. That's the picture of him, in case you forget. He wasn't that public. He didn't get out there like Letitia James saying, 2 male, 2 pals, 2 stale, right? So we didn't see him on a regular basis, but this is him. And now we learned, of course, that Bongino and Cash just a couple of weeks ago, they fired everyone, but not everyone. So they've now discovered there's this one guy, 22-year veteran of the FBI. We don't know too much about him, but he apparently had a heavy hand in all of this. And as such, he's now out. The other one that had a heavy hand in it was this guy, Timothy Tebow. I got a picture of him on the screen. And he actually was out of there by the time they were really revving up. But he's the one who initiated the investigation. And according to the allegations against him by Grassley and Company, he basically decided to initiate this investigation, and then he okayed the investigation, which actually you can't do. It's like against FBI code, because you need like a higher up. You can't like have the same person initiate and then the next person, like the same exact person, say A-OK on it. So this is a problem. And it came up recently with Lindsey Graham. He was another one affected by this. And he was asked, hey, aren't you concerned about Trump? And he's like, hang on, people. You know what I'm concerned about? Let's go to Lindsey.
Do you think that crosses a line between the Justice Department being independent from the executive branch?
I think our Justice Department in the hands of Biden crossed every line there is to cross. I think within 3 days of announcing he was going to run for president in 2024, he did that in 2022.
But what about Trump?
He had
Senator,
91 indictments.
What about
yeah, Now, I think the grand jury is going to take care of this, but you didn't care any about this. You didn't care that Letitia James made up charges that no one's ever faced.
But Senator
Alvin
Biden
Bragg
never
made up
publicly
charges no
called
one
for
ever
Trump
faced.
to be indicted.
He had 90. Biden regretted that they didn't do it before the election. Jack Smith surveilled my phone records and 8 other senators. Jack Smith introduced his brief against Trump October the 24th before the 2024 election, violating every protocol just to politicize the election. So this may bother you that people are being held accountable. It doesn't bother me one damn bit.
Thank you, Lindsay. You know, it's amazing this sort of hypocrisy that we're seeing in real time. And the idea that they can somehow say, oh, like, how can you be going after Letitia James for such a small thing as her secondary mortgage? And it's like, wait a second, guys, did you not live through what we all lived through? Where you had now, apparently, I mean, it was way worse than we thought. And that's what we're learning here every single day, which is why we're saying, hey, this thing is like worse than Watergate. It's bad. It's bad. But, you know, I want to go to some sound. We put this in the shorts feed today of this young woman who has immigrated legally to the United States of America from Canada. And I'm telling you, she gets it because she's calling out the hypocrisy. It's like on the one hand, you guys say this, and then on the other hand, you're doing that. Watch. Canada, the legal way. And she's got some pretty keen observations.
Within a second of somebody thinking differently than you, you will mock them, you will try to cancel them, and you will shut them out. You can't treat people like garbage and then expect them to stand beside you.
Thank you.
That is not how unity works. You say that you're the party of tolerance, but you've also created this culture where if somebody doesn't agree with you, then they're automatically sexist, racist, or uneducated. You say that you're all for inclusion, but you exclude half of the country because they voted differently than you. You preach that you're all about kindness and empathy, but you can also cheer when conservatives lose their jobs or, I don't know, their life. You say that love wins, but you harass and cancel anybody who thinks differently than you. You love to say, my body, my choice for abortions, but then you call people murderers when they don't want to get a vaccine. You say that you need to protect democracy, but you're all for censoring people on social media just because they think differently than you.
In other words, the left is the party of intolerance, and that's got to change if they want to have any hope, any prayer of ever getting elected again. But I don't think they understand how to get elected. I mean, again, let's just talk common sense. Kamala Harris wanted you to think that climate change was the most important issue. But just go to the Gallup poll, for goodness sakes. I mean, you people are totally tone deaf because only 2% of Americans saw that as the most important issue. And the majority of Americans actually don't think that we should be so obsessed with pronouns, okay? Like, most people don't actually think that. And yet they were making all of these things into issues, like issues where there are no issues. Like they're trying to reinvent our language with they. Oh, I read a marriage announcement in the New York Times a couple years ago, and it was 2 women that were getting married, but they both went by they, and it was they, and I was completely confused. I'm like, sorry, you lost me. What do you want to reinvent English? Or how about the Latinx stuff? I mean, what is Latinx? Was that supposed to be a woman? I think so. Latinx. I mean, like, I'm sorry, you're a Latina. You're a proud Latina or a Latino. And by the way, the entire Spanish language is filled with masculine and feminine pronouns. I mean, you just can't get rid of it, guys. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like Romance languages in general, this is what happens. This is what exists. Are you going to completely change all these languages? These people are trying to make problems where there are none because they want to divide and they want to conquer that way. And now they're getting caught. And this is bad. And I'm angry, and you should be angry too.